cairan, bei cairan nih. Nah, ini bei cairan nih. Bei cairan.
You see why they were done, right? Since 2022, the Fed has tightened or reduced total assets from about 8.9 trillion down to roughly 6.6 trillion. And once December 1st hit, the balance sheet basically flattened, right? The runoff completely stopped right there. But what really caught my attention was what happened immediately after. Because on the same day, December 1st, the Fed came in with about 13.5 billion in overnight repo. Now, this shouldn't be a big surprise, right? The Fed has been hinting that they're going to do this for months. We saw Williams talk about rates drifting higher, more use of the standard repo facility, and the Fed funds trading near the top of the range. Now, those are the signs that start getting scarce.
Indonesia di Guam.
Logan, the Dallas Fed, spelled it out even
Cuma 17 ya.
what she said was,
Hari ini naik lagi lah, 15 lagi lah.
the Fed would need to start buying assets again to prevent reserves from falling too far. Now, Powell also said the same thing, right? He said at some point, the balance sheet is going to have to grow again to match the liability.
Ntar tungguin gue men, gue baru mulai nih.
Alright, so when you line it all up, right, the picture becomes pretty clear. It's pretty simple. We drained around $2.2 trillion of reserves. The reserves got tightened down, right? The market started signaling, and it started flashing. By the time December 1st came around, by the time it arrived, they had to start right? They had to start adding small amounts of liquidity back into the system.
Gila.
The reason the Fed stopped QT becomes pretty clear once you see that, right? Once you look at what's happening.
Tuh baru mulai datang over.
So if we go back
Minus
to
langsung.
November, the funding market was already
Jago banget lawan gue ini.
John Williams from the Fed, he actually
Huh?
laid this out on November 7th. He said that the decision to end QT on December 1st was based on
Kenapa men?
clear market-based signs. The reserves had moved down
Pakai apaan?
toward what he called somewhat above.
Oh gitu.
And when you listen to
Cara
it,
ngedangnya.
it lines up with what we were seeing every day in the data. Right? So you had repo rates drifting above the Fed. You had
Oh cuman gampang masuknya.
those rates uncertainty. And you had banks having the standard repo facility
Gitu ya.
and more on. Now, that's the kind of activity that usually shows up when the system is running low on reserves, low on liquidity. And if you go back and check the money markets around that same time, you can see it pretty plainly. In mid-November, short-term rates started trading above the ceiling of the Fed sets. So it's usually a sign that liquidity is getting way too scarce in the system. Now, banks also started leaning in. You saw the Fed standing repo facility, which is basically
Aduh.
the backstop on private funding as well. And there were days where usage hit 15 billion, 20 billion, even 24 billion by the end of that month. And we haven't seen numbers like that since COVID. When the banks are pulling that much from the SRF, it usually means that they can't get overnight cash, right? The cash they need at home.
Jadi gue sekarang nge-screen biar orang bisa lewat terus langsung ngedang. Break ball.
She supported stopping QT and said that if repo rates stayed elevated, the Fed would need to start buying assets again to keep reserves from falling too low. Now, someone like her, her bank, says that publicly. Tells you the Fed knew they were pushing the system toward this. Now, Powell already hinted at the same thing. So, in October 29th at his press conference, he said that once QT ended, there would come a point where the Fed would have to expand its holdings again, expand its reserves, because reserves needed to grow with the size of the banking system. Now, that's not about stimulating the economy. That's just how the mechanics of the system work. When you look at all of it, look at it all together. Repo rates above the target rate. The SRF usage hitting the highest level since the peak. Fed officials acting openly about asset purchases if the pressure continues. It's pretty obvious why they have QT on December 1st, right?
Apa becai?
Payment cycle getting scarce, and the plenty
Apa
of
becai?
starting to fall, right? That's why they got to stop. And when the Fed hits that point, the next phase is usually the same. Liquidity has to come back in. That's what we're trying to fix.
Aduh, iya harusnya.
Right? So once you understand that QT ended on December 1st,
Mas gara-gara sekali turnover.
I'm not giving you my opinion.
Asli.
I'm giving you exactly what the Fed said in public speeches. Powell, Williams, Logan, all within the last couple of weeks. So let's start again.
Aduh, jang dong, lama banget.
New York Fed, because he's the guy who
Kasih bola
actually
di depan.
oversees the system's plan. So on November 7th, he said the next step after stopping QT will be figuring out when reserves hit ample. And once reserves hit that level, he said there will then be time to begin the process of gradual purchases of assets that will maintain an ample level of reserves as the Fed's other liabilities grow. Right now, that's his words. Those aren't my words. He said to begin the process of gradual purchases over time. Now he added that it won't be long because repo pressures have already shown reserves slipping down from what he called abundant down to what he called ample. And then he gave the caveat that they always give. These are the quote reserve management purchases, right? They don't represent a change in monetary policy. But of course, that is fine
Apa
treasury
beda?
the balance sheet grows, right? So don't get caught up in the labels. It doesn't change the mechanics of the
Apa?
Now, Powell said almost the same thing a couple weeks earlier, on October 29th. He said it's, quote, essential for reserves to grow to align with the scale of the banking sector and the economy. Now, he also said that the Fed will be augmenting reserves at some point. He repeated it the same